Do you want to get better at guitar? Today, let's go over the number one thing you can do to start seeing results fast. Let's start making small goals in your practice. So stay tuned. Hello and welcome, friends, to episode 146 of the Play Guitar Podcast. I'm Lee, and this is the podcast that's determined to make you a better guitar player. No matter if you're just starting out or you've been playing for years, this is the show that will help you become the guitarist that you always wanted to be. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the podcast and check out the description for all of the links from the show. Thank you for joining me for this mini-series on the podcast. We're going to do this for a few weeks. It's all about making the most of your practice time. For the next few weeks, I'm going to highlight some of the game-changing techniques I've used, both my own and my students practicing. Well, here we are. It's October. There's very few gigs to play. This stuff has gone on for a long time now. We're all sick of it. We're very tired of it. And the feeling that this year is the lost year keeps coming up. It's all around. When this virus showed up earlier this year, I reacted. I was determined I was going to come through this better than I was when it started. I took what we were given. I took the limitations of what we've all been dealt with, and I started to set some goals and make some plans that I could do in that. And looking back, I'm curious why I jumped at that, why I had such a strong reaction right away. And I thought about it. It's because in my daily life, I'm used to setting goals. It's a habit for me. And I know that the process, if I'm patient and I stay on course, it's possible. So what is the process? The process is very simple. One, set some big goals. Number two, you break them down into very small, easily achievable ones. And then number three is you start now, right? And it's working. Two of my very big goals that I'd actually set years ago, I kept working these goals as we've gone through this pandemic, and I've achieved both of them right during this terrible time. Now, these are life goals, but guess where I learned this process? Practicing guitar, and it works. So today I'm going to feature the most important part of succeeding on guitar, and that's setting small goals in your practice. So make sure you stay to the end. I've got a bonus for you. I'm going to give you some examples of small goals that you can use to get started today. Okay, the habit of achieving. Let's talk about habits, because getting control of your habits is the very first step to very big things. Habits are a settled or a regular tendency or practice, especially one that's hard to give up. That's from Google. But so even just practicing guitar or your lack of practicing guitar is a habit. And you've already set habits when it comes to your playing guitar. You've set up routines that you follow. And these habits they could be a lot of different things. You always use a certain strap when you play, or you may sit in the same place each time you practice, or you use a certain style of picks, or it could be you play for a certain amount of time and you do that over and over again. You get the point. So these are things that you set up and you decided to do them over and over again. Most likely you did it without giving it much thought. I did it once. It was easy to do. I'm comfortable. So why make a big effort to change things? Right there. There's our problem. Why? Because part of us wants to change. If you didn't, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. You want to get better, but maybe you're not getting the results from the efforts that you're putting into it. So today we're going to take control of our habits, the habits of achieving your goals. Can you get in the habit of achieving things? You sure can. And it's a very good place to be. I'm living proof. If you're frustrated with the guitar, you already have a habit. You have a habit of not achieving. All we're going to do is we're going to flip it. We're going to take that habit and turn it upside down. In the first place, if you don't have any goals, it'd be a good time to get some, to start thinking of some. But I don't think that's the most common situation for guitar players. I think that most players are working towards goals that are way too big, and they don't know what to do to get there. They try for a little bit, they don't get any results, and then what happens? The guitar goes away, right? And that's not a habit, good or bad. That's just you just gave it a shot and it didn't work out. You need to break your big goals down into very, very small chunks. Chunks that you can master within a few days when you use focused practice. Tiny things that you're probably just glossing over. Things that you think, well, if I just keep playing, that'll all work itself out. It'll come with time if you just keep jamming. How's that working for you? Most of the time, that doesn't help out. You break your goal down to the basics, and then you put everything in order. I need to be able to do this before I can do this. See what I'm doing here? Say your big goal is to learn a really cool song, but you just can't get it right. So let's put this into practice for this song. For this song, let's say I would need to know how to play the chords. I would also need to know how to change between the chords. I would need to know how to strum the chords. I would need to know how to play it at a certain speed. I would need to know how to play the solo. I would need to know the scale that the solo is made from. I may need to know how to improvise over those chords. I need to find the right guitar tone for the song. I need to be able to play the song with other musicians. And it can keep going on and on from there. Each one of these goals needs to be put in order. This first, and then this, and then this. Building a strong foundation towards your goal. But then, once you have them broken down, each one of those can be broken down even further, even smaller. Let's take the first one. The first one I said was I need to know how to play the chords for the song. Well, let's break that one down. Well, what chords are in the song? Need to figure that out. Then, what chords of those do I not know? There's a second thing I got to deal with. Then the next one, what does it take to play those chords? Are they bar chords? Do I need a capo for them? Are they in open position? And then you can break it down even further. What are the problems that happen when I try to play these chords? Am I getting muted note? Are they buzzing? It just keeps going on and on. You see where I'm going with this. You put all of these problems in order. What do I have to be able to do first to build a strong foundation? So you set out on your small goals. What was the very first one in that? It was what chords are in the song. That's a small goal. In 10 minutes, you can look this up. Even if you don't have a good ear for hearing chords, you can just look it up online. Get the chords. Goal accomplished. You're now one step closer to the big goal. Celebrate. It's awesome. It doesn't sound like much, but you're on your way. You may not think something like that's a big deal, but it is. It's the foundation that you're going to build some very cool stuff on. If it wasn't there, nothing else would get done, right? You need to know the chords of the songs or you're not going to be able to do any of it. So once you get it, celebrate it. I know what the chords are to this song. I know all of them. One goal down. And where does your mind naturally go after that? What's next? What am I going to do next? You see what's happening here. You started on a journey and you made your first milestone. It's only natural to want to quickly move on to the next step. And this creates something a lot of players struggle with, and that is the urge to practice. Just the word practice gets under a lot of players' skin. I don't want to practice. I just want to play. Right. So why is that so common? I think it's because most don't see immediate rewards when they practice. It feels like it takes too long to get anywhere, and it usually doesn't sound real good. But when you set small, easily achievable goals, rewards get very clear. And when you make working towards these small goals a habit, you can start to expect achievement. You get used to achieving. And this brings excitement to something that a lot of people consider to be a chore practice. But it does something else too. It rewards being patient. Some people really struggle with being patient, but when you can see the steps leading towards a goal, it doesn't feel like it takes so long because you're getting small wins along the way. My current coaching students are living this firsthand. Each level that they work through is 12 weeks. We have a lot of different levels. And every 12 weeks, you achieve a very big goal. But that same level, it's divided up into weekly small goals. It's also divided up into quarterly small goals and half semester goals. So as you're going through it, it creates steady, regular wins. But the whole time, there's a clear direction towards the big goal. Another thing small goals do is they help you get real about your playing. They're not flashy. The ones that I went down and listed, there's nothing that you go, oh my God, I got to go learn the chords of this song. No. But has trying to learn the big flashy techniques without knowing why they work, has that gotten you very far in the first place? Small goals pinpoint the things that might be lacking in your playing, and they head straight towards the things that you may not realize are holding you back. You can see what a valuable tool that could be. Another way that small goals help you get real about your playing is they chart your progress. Have you ever wondered if you're getting better? You put a lot of time in, but you're not sure you're getting any better at all. How would you really know if you were getting better? And what's better in music anyway? I guess the feedback that you get from others, that's how most people judge how they're doing, how they judge their own progress. But by using this technique, by using small goals, you can take your progress away from the opinions of other people, and you can put it straight into your own opinion. You set the goals. You do the work. You see the steps that you're climbing. You reach that goal. You start to gain control of your own progress and your own playing. Isn't that awesome? It's really cool. Back at the beginning of the show, I said we're going to have some bonus examples of some small 1-week goals that you can set that will lead to bigger things. So let's talk about a few of those. How about your rhythm? Everybody can always get better at rhythm. There's a lot that you can work on no matter what level you're at. There was one time I met a really famous guitar player. I'm not going to say his name. He didn't know who I was. He didn't know I had a podcast. I was just some guy after the show who happened to say hi to him. And I said, hey, you're phrasing with what he was playing in a different setting than he normally did. This was just an electric guitar player and a piano player. That was it for the whole show. And I said, hey, your phrasing sounded fantastic today. He says, yeah, I've really been working on that. I've been trying to get my rhythms down. And it just blew my mind that a guy who's of that caliber was working on his phrasing. I thought it was awesome. And so we could do that too. You can always, if you need a small goal, you need something, you can test yourself with rhythm. Play your chords or your licks to a metronome and record yourself. Here's why. Because the metronome doesn't hide anything. You will hear if your rhythm is off. And if you spend a week recording yourself playing the same exact part each day to a metronome and listen back to it each day and try again the next day, try to make it better, try and get on time the next day. Giving yourself the small goal of having it perfectly on beat by the end of the week. really, really, really great small goal that can be accomplished in 7 days. How about songs? What if you were to take a familiar song you've been playing for a while, and revoice your chords to a different area of the guitar? You see that a lot in two guitar bands. One will play the just basic bar chords, and then you see the other guitar player, and it mixes really well, but it might be playing something up higher, the same chords, but in a different place. In fact, if you're used to playing one of those parts, why don't you learn a song that has two parts and learn the other part, or make up your own part to the song by the end of the week? It's a great tool for understanding chord notes and where they are in different areas of the neck. How about scales? Some small goals with scales. Why don't you take a scale that you already know, and by the end of the week, play it in all keys? Very doable. The first step would be if you're missing any of the patterns across the neck. So if you just know one of the patterns, try and learn the other patterns, work them out. And each day of the week, find a background track that's in a different key. You could take this circle of fifths and just go around the circle by keys to make sure you don't miss any of the different keys. And by the time you make it all the way back up to the top, you've hit them all. Okay, there they are. There's some small goals, nothing, groundbreaking there, but they're easily accomplished and they help you with your current problem. But they also can become foundational skills that you can build on for years to come. So here's my task for you. I would like for you to set a 1 week small goal for next week, and then let us know about it. You can tell us in the comments on the show notes page right on this video. Or if it's in a video, you can put it in the comments below. We'd love to hear about what your 1 week small goal was and how you did with it. And also, if you haven't yet already, make sure you pick up my practice space checklist. Get your practice space in order. Make sure it's functioning properly. It's easy to sit down and play. You have everything you need right there, and the atmosphere around the room is conducive to good practice, distraction free. And that's over at playguitaracademy.com/practice. All right, that's a wrap. Thanks for joining me today for the Play Guitar Podcast. Make sure to hit the button below to subscribe to the show. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the notification bell so you can get all of my content as soon as it comes out. For more episodes, lessons, and ways to get involved with the Play Guitar community, visit playguitaracademy.com. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next episode.